PSD2 or Payment Services Directive 2 is a piece of European regulation, legislation that is coming in that will enforce the way security is applied to payments and fraud is applied to payments to be totally transformed. The aim is, from a consumer point of view, to make the transaction process much more secure to prevent fraud. The side effect of that, certainly in the short term, will be that for consumers, it probably gets a bit more complicated to complete transactions because they'll need to go through stronger authentication than they used to previously. So if you consider at the moment when you use your credit card online, you may be asked to input a password. Today, that is all you need to do. Tomorrow, you might need to do something more sophisticated, like have a text sent to your phone at the very minimum, but more likely use something more secure, maybe a token or a biometric to identify who you are to the bank to prove it's you. So in the short term, consumers are going to maybe feel a bit of pain here, and banks, payment service providers as well, as we make this transition. But the overall objective is that it gets much more secure. Coming in with that, for the banks though, is a new regime around what's called transaction risk assessment. It's very heavily defined in the regulation how a bank needs to assess each transaction, each and every transaction, real time, to assess the fraud risk. And if there is any sniff of fraud risk, then strong authentication must be used in that case. If the fraud risk is lower, then it could be exempted. So those more complicated consumer methods of identifying themselves can be exempted in certain circumstances if the fraud risk is seen to be low. Now this applies both to payments and also to release of data for something like open banking. The regulation covers both. So when consumers want to release their data so they can get better affordability assessments or take their transactions and have them analysed to work out where they're spending, then again they'll have to prove who they are using what's termed strong customer authentication in order for that data to be released.